Hi, I'm Matthew of castingacross.com, where I explore the quarry and culture of fly fishing. Now, one of the best things about fly fishing, in my opinion, is how it can be so seamlessly integrated with other outdoor pursuits. And for me, I've loved taking fly fishing and combining it with one of my other favorite things to do outside, which is trail running. Doing them together allows for some great opportunities, specifically getting further into the backwoods deeper and getting away from the pressured waters. Now, if you are not a runner, that's okay. A lot of the information I'm talking about in the next few minutes are applicable if you just want to travel a little bit more efficiently and a little bit lighter. And if you don't want to run, we could talk about jogging or even just walking at a brisk pace. It all essentially does the same thing. But the first thing to think about is your gear storage. This is where I actually shop outside of the fly fishing industry catalogs, and I go to a lightweight hydration pack. It's going to provide three things that I think are really integral for this kind of fishing. First and foremost, it allows you to have something that you can attach to your body with a nice tight fit. So a backpack, you have your shoulder harnesses, your chest strap, and your waist strap. This can keep your gear nice and close to you. You don't want things bouncing and swinging around as you are running, or even, like I said, walking at a pretty moderate pace down the trail. Secondly, you can carry a couple liters of water using the integrated hydration bladder. And lastly, I like a pack that has some sort of exterior storage option. This one has some bungees. What that allows me to do is take something like a drying off wet wading shoe and slide it in there, and it's going to dry on the outside of my pack without getting my stuff completely soaked. So a bag that is not necessarily a vest or a sling or chest pack might be your best option if you want to move quickly and deep into the woods. The second most important piece of gear is your footwear. Now, footwear matters when you're fishing, regardless of how you're fishing and where you're fishing, because you want that stability and you want the support, but especially if you're moving light and quick, you want something that is going to work really well. When I'm fishing in a situation like this, I want something like this. This is a wet wading shoe, but it's actually a kayaking shoe made by Astral. This is the TR1 mesh, some of the best, stickiest rubber on the market. I absolutely love these shoes. Good ankle support, good toe protection, very, very lightweight, ventilates well, dries off very quickly. And now, if I'm only walking, maybe I'm fishing with somebody else or I don't feel like running that day, this is going to be the shoe I wear from my car all the way to fishing and all the way back. But if I want to run, if I want to move at a brisk pace, I'm going to use something like this. This is a pretty basic trail running shoe. This is the New Balance Mountain Trail, I think 3 with nitrile. So just a very lightweight shoe, a little bit more ankle support, a little bit more responsive, and going to allow me to move over more varied terrain than what I could do with just that Astral. But the nice thing about this, it's so lightweight. When I switch from my wading shoe to this can go live in that backpack compartment, and it's not going to be obtrusive at all. But if you're not going to be running, or if you don't necessarily have a pair of shoes like this, then there's a good chance you have something like this. In fact, most of us have worn a Merrell Moab at one point in time in our life. This is going to allow you to move a lot quicker than if you have a big wading boot or even a hiking boot. And then when you get to where you're going to fish, you could throw it on the back of your pack, or you could stash it somewhere and find some way to remember it. Fish up with your wading shoe. When you get back, you can put this back on. But regardless of what option you choose, I think it's important for foot health that you have a dry pair of socks you can put back on, and put back on those dry shoes that have a little bit more support as you go, whether it's 2, 3, 4, 5 miles back to your car. Now, of course, we're talking about fly fishing, so we need fly fishing gear. And although my favorite small stream rod is a 7-foot 3-weight, it is a 2-piece, and I don't want a 3.5-foot antenna sticking up over my shoulder as I'm running or as I'm navigating my way down to the river. So something like this is a better option. This is the Douglas Upstream. This is an 8-foot 2-weight, and it breaks down into 4 pieces. Keeping it in its rod sock allows it to be stashed away in that backpack, only sticking up maybe 2 to 4 inches out of the top of my shoulder, and all the pieces are safe and secure. So this is a great option that allows you to have the precise rod that you need with a little bit of flexibility on maybe bumping up to a heavier rod, but having something that breaks down to 4 pieces is a great option in this situation. Now, I'd be remiss to mention, not mention I should say, that if you're into Tenkara, this is a great application for this. This thing weighs less than 2.5 ounces. You can throw it in there and you have all you need, because you don't need a reel. But if you're not into Tenkara, then using a very lightweight reel in this situation is a great option. This is the Remington Zero, a little click pawl cast reel. It weighs virtually nothing. It is basically going to do anything and everything you need if you're fishing in the backcountry. Now, beyond that, there's only a few other things that are important. And the first one is having a good assortment of flies. Now, I like to pare down my assortment to a number of things that I have confidence in and that I know are going to be working in that area at that particular time. But one small fly box is really all you need if you can fish those flies well. So you don't need box after box after box, especially if you're deep into the backcountry. The last thing is a big mess of miscellaneous gear. Now, this looks like an absolute travesty of different sort of fly fishing gadgets, but there's actually a lot of purpose in this. All of this stuff, 2 types of floatant, forceps, nippers, and all of my different tippets are combined into one neat and tidy little package that I'll drop into the back of that backpack. But when I start fishing, it comes off, the nippers get clipped on one side of my shoulder, the forceps go on the other side, and everything else is hanging off my backpack. And if I need to access those things, which I access less frequently, then I can do so. Now, I might carry a couple of pre-tied leaders, but I like having a lot of tippets options because then I can build out my leaders on my own and fish however I want to fish in that situation. But all of those things go into that backpack, they get cinched tight, and they're not going to bounce around as I run or as I walk at a quick pace to the river. Now, there's so much more that can be talked about techniques, about gear, and about even just how you fish when you've been running, what kind of clothing you wear, and all this information is over at castingacross.com. You head there, you put in trail running in that search bar, and there's article after article I've written over the years about ways that I have found to really build on my experience of being in the backwoods as I've been trail running and been fly fishing. So for more information like this, head over to castingacross.com for 3 posts a week on the people, places, and things that go into the pursuit of fish.